Everybody, this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report and virtual roadshows selling luxury. And we're going to talk about how destinations are marketing themselves to luxury travelers and the travel advisor today. This is part two. Countries, cities, regions are increasingly working to target luxury travelers. How are they working with travel advisors and luxury suppliers to better define themselves as true luxury destinations? And how are they marketing themselves as luxury destinations? We're going to talk about that now with two representatives. One, Shana Whyte, Senior Sales Manager for the U.S. Virgin Islands. We're also talking with Milijana Borojevic, Director for Korčula Tourist Board. If I got it right, great. If I didn't, I'm going to try again next time. Now, let's talk about your destinations, please. Milijana, will you begin? Tell us about Korčula.
Korčula is a town and an island. It is in the south of Croatia, very close to Dubrovnik and to Split, and it's very well connected to both towns, and has been around. This civilization has been around since, 20,000 years ago. We have seen the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, the medieval times. I mean, Marco Polo is from Korčula, so it has to be good and it has to be very exciting.
Shana, tell us about the U.S. Virgin Islands, please.
Well, the U.S. Virgin Islands, as you know, as many may or may not be familiar, we are three main islands that comprise or that makes up the U.S. Virgin Islands: St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John, all unique and different in their own way. Definitely, St. Thomas is the capital of the U.S. Virgin Islands, more bustling, more busy, but it definitely have some of our luxury, high-end accommodations and villas, as well as St. John is the smallest of the three, where you will find, our pristine beaches due to the fact that we have the national park that's there. Two-thirds of it is owned by, two-thirds of the island is owned by the national park. So we do have a lot of villas, little boutique, unique type style accommodations that you can offer to your clients, as well as St. Croix. St. Croix is the largest of the three, and you will find that it's rich in its culture and its history. So you're able to step back in time, but you're able to also enjoy some of the luxury aspects of the destination that we do have to offer there. So three islands to choose from, or not just to choose. You can just come and visit all three U.S. Virgin Islands.
All right, so let's talk about what makes your destination great for luxury or the upscale traveler. I mean, what are some of the attractions and sites that are popular with those kind of travelers? Milijana, can you tell us?
But generally, we offer three types of tourist products. That would be the culture. As I said, we have a very rich history dating back to the ancient times. But what is most important is the old town of Korčula that dates back to the medieval times, and that definitely is the main attraction. It's one of the best preserved old towns in the Mediterranean. And then added to that, the spectacular nature that allows us to develop very different kind of outdoor activities, be it on the sea or cycling, hiking, whatever you want and whatever you like to do in your spare time. And thirdly, it's food and wine. The island is really famous for its excellent wine. We are called the Black Island with white wines. It's very unusual to have white wines, such as on the island that is south of Croatia, in Croatia. So yes, these are the three products that I'm very proud of, and they're trying to promote more. Being an island, we do not have huge hotels or resorts, which is really good, because in that way we are protecting, obviously, the resources. But similar to what Shana already said with her destination, we are more into offering boutique hotels, luxury villas, and then sort of personal style offer when it comes to accommodation.
Okay. And the U.S. Virgin Islands, some sites and attractions that attract the upscale or luxury traveler.
Definitely some of the things I think that attracts folks to our destination, especially the folks that are luxury and high end, is the fact that we have the ability to have that flexibility with the type of accommodations, that we have a wide range. We have high-end accommodations, we have boutiques, we have villas, but we also have some of our attractions is the yachting and being able to get on a private yacht or, charter a yacht and go around the U.S. Virgin Islands or even the British Virgin Islands if they do have passports. Some of it also, too, is our fine dining. We do have the ability for your clients to go out and have some fine dining experience there in the U.S. Virgin Islands. They can be staying on one island and dining on another. Or have an activity on another island. So they can very well be staying on St. Thomas, dine, on St. John, or vice versa, or just do a catamaran throughout the day. But it's definitely the ability to, get to our destination easy because of the no passport once they're U.S. citizens. So they can come down and explore both the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands because of their activities of having that those actually water activities that they can do. Then, of course, there's land activities, definitely the island tours that they can take privately with a private transfer. Or they can go and go over to the distilleries over in St. Croix and, get private tours there as well. So a lot of the land activities that we have can also be not just with a group, it can also be private. If they're looking to just do private, if it's a couple or if it's a small group, we can personalize and have those kind of experiences for them.
Milijana, let's talk about Korčula's upscale and luxury accommodations. What are the things that will attract that traveler to Korčula?
As I said, we have many luxury villas that are located in little bays, in lovely spots that offer really not only the luxury accommodation, but they offer the private chefs. They offer all kind of services. But also we have within the medieval town, we have 5-star accommodations. New are being built at the moment. That's why we are starting now to promote more the luxury part of our offer for the years to come, obviously. But that is probably the most attractive, having those little boutique hotels in medieval palaces. In addition to that, one of these palaces that have been turned into a hotel, it has also the Michelin star restaurant. So many things that we have been doing for the past few years now, they're sort of coming to this end that when we are going to become a real luxury destinations. In addition to all of this, the island, the town has 2 ports, and also a beautiful little islands scattered around the town that really allow for the mega yachts to anchor, and they actually do. Because during the summer, we really have many of the private yachts, the mega yachts, actually coming to the town, exactly because of the culture that we offer, the food and wine that we offer. I just have to mention that this is an island of only 60,000 people, but we actually have 3 restaurants that are within Michelin Guide, which really shows how advanced the gastronomy and the knowledge on the island is.
And Milijana, are you allowed to mention the names of some of these hotels that are coming in, if they're part of a larger group?
At the Parrot, we are going to have the Lashish Dimitri, the 5-star hotel that actually has the Michelin star. And then the Aminis Holiday and Resort that are now turning one of their one of the heritage hotel into 5-star boutique hotel. And then it's going to be Korčula Hill luxury apartments that actually that are catering for the tourists that are seeking the luxury treatment.
Okay.
Just to give you a little hint how luxury they are. They have their own tennis courts, swimming pools, and everything. So basically, Novak Djokovic comes every summer to Korčula and spends his holiday there. So here comes, and some other famous people.
No, it is time to name drop. This is luxury, after all.
Of course, we have to drop the name.
Yes. Shana, let's talk about luxury and upscale accommodations that will attract our travel advisors and their guests.
Yes, and I know because I even get these questions when I'm on the road. Travel advisors are asking, well, what are the luxury properties there at the U.S. Virgin Islands? So prime example for in St. Thomas, obviously your luxury would be the Ritz-Carlton St. Thomas, the Westin at Frenchman's Reef that used to be the Marriott Frenchman's Reef that had a full remodel and are now moving more trending towards a higher end type of clientele, as well as the Bowie Haas. Bowie Haas used to be formerly the Morningstar property. So those would be our three properties in St. Thomas. But then we do also have some boutique properties that are geared towards more of the high end, like the Hideaway at Hull Bay. That's a very small, intimate boutique property that very well a small group can do an entire buyout of that property. So those are the type of accommodations we have in St. Thomas. Over in St. John, we have, of course, the Westin in St. John, but we also have Livongo. So Livongo is an island that sits right off of St. John that also has a resort there. Very small, very intimate. Their restaurant is also geared towards high end as well. But that is a very small 12 rooms there at that property, another property that you can also do an entire buyout as well. And over in St. Croix, your options there would be, even though they kind of still trend themselves a little bit of being high end because of all the bells and whistles that they do offer, would be the Buccaneer over in St. Croix. But also the Waves at Cane Bay is another small, intimate, boutique, high end luxury property that sits right on the bay of Cane Bay, only 11 rooms. So once again, another property that can either be a buyout for a very small group or for those high-end clients or luxury clients that are looking for those small, intimate, boutique type feel. That way they want to feel like they're the only ones that are staying on the property. So there's some options. That they can consider, as well as we also have villas. Every one of the islands do have tons of villas that if your clients were really trying to look for that out of the box type of experience where they have that catered chef coming in, or they having, the masseuse that's coming to do the massages, or the masseuse that's coming in, to do a couples massage or a group massage, there's the possibility is limitless, there at the U.S. Virgin Islands. We can definitely create the experience for your clients.
Okay. Now back to Korčula. Now, Milijana, you said how you have the luxury yachts coming in. And so obviously, not only when people go to luxury resorts, but the yachts, they're looking for 5-star dining. And you were mentioning that you had some great dining in Korčula. So now let's talk about what the travel advisors can tempt their guests with.
Well, traditionally, the dining on Korčula was always really high quality. And then we usually say we as locals, we like to eat and we like food and we like good food. So at the end, we just wanted to present that to our guests. So in the past few years, the dining scene in Korčula has been very dynamic, with new restaurants being open every year of very high quality, very imaginative, very interesting, very sort of fusion. So basically, whoever comes to Korčula cannot complain that they can't find a restaurant that suits their needs and their palate. It's not only that we cater for, with the sort of traditional style of food, but we also have a sushi restaurant. We also have, all kinds of different different restaurants. So, and that's exactly what people that are coming on the boats like to do, because sometimes they get, tired of all this Mediterranean or European food, and they just want to do something else. So in recent years, Korčula has become a place where people actually come, get out of their yachts, get out of their boats, and then actually have a dinner. And that's the reason for them to come to Korčula. And in addition to that, as we have at the moment, basically 4 of the indigenous wine varieties on the island that we are developing. So nobody can complain that they can't find a wine that suits their palate. So whether it's heavy, fresh, whichever you need. The most famous wines are Poship and Grk, which are white wines. And those 2 wines again, and wineries that do the tastings, are reason that many of our travelers actually come to the island, and they just get to the island. They want to go to the wineries because they know that Korčula is the only place that can actually try the wine. It's very often that you can't try those wines anywhere else, just on the island.
Wow. Right. So you're not exporting. You're not exporting it. You're hoarding it all to yourselves. Now you mentioned
very little wine is actually being exported from the island.
No, it's another reason to go.
Exactly.
But you mentioned a bunch of wineries. Do you want to give a shout out at all to any of the restaurants, or didn't want to show favoritism?
So the island is about 50 kilometers long. So we have about 40 wineries across the island in which you can actually taste the wine. Obviously, we all have our favorites, and we have many of the wineries that have all this kind of decanter, golden or whatever, platinum decanter for their wines. But
But the restaurants, you haven't mentioned the restaurant. Give me a name.
Yeah, but the Leshish Dimitri restaurant, of course, the Michelin star restaurant. Then you have the Filippi restaurant, also within Michelin Guide, and then you have actually a tavern that has a green Michelin star, Konoba Mate, which we are very proud of. It's not a luxury, but but everybody who is somebody actually goes there. Because you get this amazing food in a very Dalmatian style environment with the chef sitting with you and having a dinner. So this is because luxury is not always a luxury. Sometimes luxury is a peace and quiet and being able to enjoy the local way of life and to get that kind of experience. For me, sometimes that is even a better luxury than having, I don't know, a fancy room or fancy soap or whatever.
Now, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, upscale luxury places to eat. Tell us about them.
Oh, well, we have quite a few that, the advisors can choose from or offer to their clients. So I'll start off over in St. Croix. So St. Croix have Savant. That's a very high-end fine dining restaurant located right there in Christiansted. Then you also have the Galilean. That's also a nice fine dining atmosphere as well. And you also have the Hamilton. The Hamilton restaurant is there as well, located there in St. Croix, as well as another option you have is the Ama. The Waves at Ama also has a restaurant that's there. That's very high end, sits right there on the cliff of the bay that's coming in. Nice waves, listening, soothing waves while you're there having dinner. So that's some options there in St. Croix. Over in St. John, some options there is Zozo's at Canal Bay. So even though Canal Bay is not open, the restaurant portion is open that folks can still dine to. So it's right there on the beach. Once again, listening to the soothing waves, crashing while you're having, a nice dinner. as well as Extra Virgin Bistro that's located there in downtown Cruise Bay, as well as Ocean 362 that is located there at Gallows Point, which is one of the hotels that are there right in Cruise Bay. And then another option is having sailing over to Livongo and having dinner over at Livongo. And once again, most of these restaurants that I mentioned are sitting right at the bay while you're hearing the soothing waves while you're having dinner. And then if you head over to St. Thomas, of course, now that opens up a lot more opportunities. You have Old Stone Farmhouse, which is a favorite amongst the locals as well as folks that are visiting. You have Prime Steakhouse, which is there at Paradise Point. It's a high-end steakhouse that's there. And you do have folks that tend to go to that and who still wants to come and have steak in the Caribbean, even though we're surrounded by water. You would think that they want to go and have seafood, but we understand that everyone likes seafood. You have Easterly that's over in Red Hook area that you can go, sitting right there by the marina. Blue 11 is right there in Yacht Haven Grand. You have a 11-course meal that you can go and have, and experience the chef and, his creative ways of preparing some items. You have Oceana that's right there in French Town, there in the center part of St. Thomas. Another favorite amongst locals as well as, folks that are visiting the island. And Caribbean Fish Market. That's another property or another venue that's located on the eastern end of the island. And once again, all of these properties are right there on the beach, soothing, a nice way for you to end your hectic day if you were out sailing, or at the spa for that day. Just a nice way to end your evening.
Really quick question for you.
Yes.
You're a luxury traveler. Money's no object. You have a helicopter. You want to have breakfast on one island, lunch on another island, dinner on another island. Where would you go?
If I had the option, I would have breakfast over in St. Croix first. Okay. And I would try maybe one of our local spots. Caroline's is there in St. Croix that you can have breakfast. And then I would helicopter over to St. Thomas and have lunch, maybe at one of our local restaurants, whether it's Gladys's Cafe or Petit Pump Room, where I can have one of my Caribbean lobsters or my conch with all the ground provisions. And then dinner, I probably would have dinner over at Ocean 362 there at Gallows Point. So there's the option of you to very well have 3 different options.
No, Mariana, Korčula. When you're there and you have a speed car, you can go anywhere, or a helicopter.
Or a speedboat.
What would your 3 meals be?
Okay, I would have a breakfast at the very center of the old town at Pepper and Choco. They really make a mean breakfast. And then lunch, I would probably go at the LD Garden, which is like a younger sister of the Michelin star restaurant, Leshish Dimitri. Oh, this lovely little place. And then in the early evening, I would watch sunset from the one of the Korčula towers and having a cocktail on top of the tower, where they actually use little lifts to actually take a drink up to the top of the tower. Mm-hmm. And then for the dinner, I will probably go to this my favorite place and have this ravioli with the goat cheese inside at the Conobamate.
I love this part of our interview because it's very enthusiastic. I hope you travel advisors are writing this all down.
Yes.
And also, of course,
because in this restaurant, the cheese is from their own farm. They make homemade ravioli. The tomatoes are from their own garden, and it's nice. just heaven. And it's nice and rustic, and I just love that.
That's great.
With really, really good wine from a local winery, from the Krančić winery. Probably some nice poship.
Okay.
Are you coming for dinner?
Yeah. No, when I go there, I'll pronounce your name properly, and then I'll earn a meal. All right, so let's go on to marketing. How are we telling travel advisors so that they can tell their guests? How are we marketing your destinations? Miliana, we were talking about this very event is one of the ways you're marketing. Anything else?
Absolutely. This event is some more or less start of our marketing of the more luxury travels. Having said that, some of these hotels are doing their own marketing activities, especially the Les Limited, which is a part of Le Chateau. So they are present on always on some fairs or meetings or presentations. But given that we are still in the process of developing this luxury part, seriously developing the luxury tourist offer. So yeah, this is sort of the beginning, and I was really excited that my colleagues decided to participate at the travel show with their companies and get into that sort of stories. Yeah,
we got to get the word out.
So thank you very much.
No, and travel advisors, this is two of the most diverse places you can go. Tropical versus medieval, and so there's really no competition here.
No,
but you got to do them both.
Yeah.
So anyway, for the U.S. Virgin Islands, how are they marketing?
Well, how we're marketing is we're doing events like this virtual show, as well as we are advertising in some of the luxury publications to let folks know, hey, consider the U.S. Virgin Islands, for your clients or for their, for your luxury business. As well as we do trainings. So a lot of times if I go to another trade show and I encounter maybe a travel advisor that say, hey, I'm more, I do the high end clientele, then, I try to do one-on-ones with them. We also participate in the Ultra Summit show that's available. This year, I think they're in Brazelton, Georgia, but last year it was in Florida. So we try to hit certain trade shows that are geared towards luxury travelers, so that way that we can get the exposure, get the word out, let folks know, there are options, there's places to stay, there's things to do, there's places to dine if you have clients that are luxury and high end. So those are the possibilities or opportunities that we're presenting the USVI in.
You've kind of anticipated the next question, which is how do you work with travel advisors? And you started to talk about that. Is there any other piece to that before we talk about Korčula's outreach? Do you have
for
another?
Us, like I said, for us, we do one-on-one. So we can always do trainings directly, and we offer that directly with an advisor if they work by themselves or if there's a group or a host. We will try to, bring in the entire team and try to do a personalized training directly with them, so that way they can learn a little bit more about the destination, as well as we also have a specialist program. So we normally do a specialist program. We just have ours. We're revamping that, and we should be relaunching that in the next couple of weeks as well. So that's other opportunities for advisors to get training on the destination.
Okay. Now, Korčula is just becoming known. You're working very hard and you're doing a good job of it. What's the outreach like, and how can travel advisors get involved with that?
What we actually generally do with both travel advisors and the journalists, we organize some trips for them. But it usually has to go through the various offices of the National Tourist Boards. In the U.S., the office is in New York. So whoever wants to do a fun trip or travel, or the journalists want to come to Croatia and then to Korčula, is they actually first reach out to them, and then they see whether they're interesting or not, and then we proceed on with that. So when they come to Korčula, we organize the with the accommodation, the experiences, the dinners, lunches, whatever, depending on what the interests are, and we are getting very good at that to actually recognize what exactly their interest could be, and then sort of match our offer with their interest. Very basically, people from my office are very much hands-on with that. We go for lunch with them or dinner. We like to show them the island the way we see it, and then allow them to actually experience the real vibe of the island in that way.
Right. So the travel advisors who are watching this, you please go to the booth, because you just heard the tip of it right there. You got to get more information, so how you can actually go visit both destinations. And then you're even better able to express that to your clients. Let's talk now about all the URLs that are needed, all the contact. Like, how can they, obviously they're going to go to the booth now, but after this, how do they reach out to you guys? Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Yeah.
They can always reach out to our website. So our website is www.visitusvi.com. We always, recommend that folks use our website as a tool within their toolbox, because it's going to have tons of information. It's going to have all the accommodations. It's going to have any promos, if there's any promos in place. It's going to have things to do. It's going to have, how to get there if folks were still, unsure about how to get their clients to the destination. So definitely visit our website. If they're on social media, definitely follow us on all of the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on TikTok. Follow us so that way, you can be kept abreast of what's going on. You can also follow me. If I, hopefully I can get your contact information, after you visit our booth. But what happens is that once you visit our booth, we have your contact information. We put you in our database and we send out newsletters once a month. That way that gives you different tips, different things that you can use to offer to your clients, whether it's an event that's happening, whether it's the carnival that's coming up in St. Thomas or the carnival in St. John, or if there's a new hotel that's coming online or a new restaurant, whatever it is, we will share that information at least once a month to the advisors that are in our database. And then, of course, you always have our contact. So you can always reach out to myself or my colleagues. We can either one of us can always answer any questions or any concerns, or just help you navigate in being able to secure the U.S. Virgin Islands for your clients.
Okay. And Korčula, where do they go? Obviously, they're going to the booth, but then after the booth,
definitely.
What do they do
when they get there? I will give them my email address, and whichever question they have, I will try to answer, or at least try to find an answer. Anyway, the website is www.visitkorčula.eu. We are also present on the social media, so Visit Korčula. So actually, at the moment, we are making a new website. So it's going to be nice and very easy to follow, and everything is going to be very easy to find, and I love it. Nice. So we're very excited about that. On our website you can find all the attractions and the history. You will be able to see all the restaurants and wineries, the accommodations, and so on and so forth. Especially because our town is very much into weddings and honeymoons, so that there is a section on that, especially the luxury ones. So yes, the website is always a good place to start exploring the island before coming to the island itself.
for both of you. Anyway, thank you for sharing. It's just the beginning, though. Travel advisors will follow up, I'm sure. So thank you for sharing. And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report and Virtual Roadshow Selling Luxury.